what continues to be the common theme as I continue to work with high performers on a daily basis, and then when we bring a group of people together in a room for 2 days, we go hike a mountain for a full day and go a little bit deeper. It's John Cheplack coming to you post Lake Tahoe Cheplack Live Mastermind. Just out here doing some exploring, take a little bit of downtime, and certainly always reflect back and take a look at what the experience was as we all got together and hiked Mount Tallac, and then spent 2 days in an environment where really it's something from within. And when I say from within, is the messaging comes from within the group. The messaging comes from those that are down in the trenches. What I believe in and what we believe in as a group is bringing forward what is being practiced from practitioners, no theory in the room. And I think many times people show up in the room looking for that one magic pill, and after they get in the rooms a few times with us over and over again, they find that it's, as I always say, the tiny hinges that swing big doors. It's those nuances, it's those subtleties. You know, it's very interesting if you look at a big group of high performers. Everyone knows how to make money. Everyone does. Everyone knows, you know, the basics of, you know, whether it's your technology and all the science that goes into operating a productive business. But the one piece that is always the one that we're seeking and striving for, and that's the art part of it, the artistic part of leadership, the artistic part of running a business, and that's humans. You know, if you look at the real estate business, sure, it's a numbers game and it's transactional, but the people that I get the privilege of working with and getting in the room with, we're no longer about the transaction. Sure, it's a measurement that's out there, but it is a product of people. Let me say it again. Everything that these people are doing, these great leaders that I work with on a daily basis, that I bring together throughout the country, that come throughout North America to sit in a room, we understand that everything is based on human beings, and that is attracting quality human beings to an organization that sell homes, developing human beings, retaining them. And most importantly, though, where there's a gap, and what we always look to bridge is, you take a look at that science part, but what we spend so much time in is bridging the gap to the art. The art is the human experience. And first of all, it's understanding yourself. You know, how can you lead other people and get them to do the things that they want to do and they need to do? If you haven't taken a deep dive within yourself, I always say the growth of your business is inside your business, and then you go inside the business, and then the good news, bad news is, the good news is everything good that's happening, it's your fault. Everything bad that's happening, it's your fault too. And so when we go a little bit deeper, instead of everyone else trying to go wide, we're focused on going deeper. As a leader, you must go deeper as a human being, because the growth of you is inside of you, not outside of you. Now, certainly, these people gathered in a room for a couple days and went on a mountain to have an experience that's external. But then you've got to take that experience, you've got to take that information, you've got to take the knowledge, you've got to take the feedback, and then it's up to you. It's the internal process. And so what I want to share with you is, you know, the simple solves the complex, and these are the simple things that we see as a common vein, a common thread. Number one, these people operate on principles and values. And at any point in time when they're operating their business and it gets off track or it's not growing, we can always come back to it and say, okay, what are the principles? Or these are the principles, but we're not applying them, we're not aligned to them. And so I'm going to share with you some principles, 3 simple principles that always stand out as I do events like this and as I work with high performers, and values that will hold true, that hold really, really strong. Number 1 is commitment. So commitment's a principle. Commitment is law. And that's what you have to always come back to, is what are my principles? If you don't have principles, an example I give and I use that were passed on to me from my mentor: personal responsibility, accountability, commitment, and contribution. Those are principles, those are law, and at any point in time things aren't showing up the way that I want them to, I go back to those laws, right?
I go back to them. They aren't just some fancy words that we put on the wall in the office, or that we put on a piece of paper and we tell everyone about them and they sound really good. No, those are law. Those are what we go back to. And you'll find typically when there's a challenge personally or professionally or in the business environment, people are out of alignment on their principles. They've stepped out of principle and moved into personality. And so that number one is commitment. So we get all this information that's really, really valuable, and we're all committed. That's what's very interesting. That's one of the things that I've evolved to learn is that I used to think, well, you're committed, you're not committed. No, that's not it. You're committed to what's showing up. So if you're sitting here right now and gosh, I'm not having the results that I want, and this is the result that I'm getting, well, you're committed to what's showing up. Get it? And so the nice thing with commitment also, though, is as you come back and from interacting with people and gathering all this information, is with commitment, you make a declaration. With commitment, there's a deadline. With commitment, someone holds you accountable and you check in and measure. And that's very challenging because accountability is something that we typically don't embrace. And that goes way back. And this is going into the human being. You'll find as you sit in the rooms or if you have a conversation with me about business, is everything that happened in the past is what's showing up today. And so what I believe in, and I've proven over and over again, is we've got to do a lot of work on the past continually so that it doesn't show up in a negative way today and in the future. So it's commitment. It's making that declaration. It's doing what you say you're going to do with a deadline, willing to be held accountable. Now, here's the second step. And, some people don't even get to the commitment thing, right? We've all been there. We go to a seminar or we gather some information and we don't take action, right? So I guess we're committed to where we were, not to where we were trying to go. So we sit there and we stay there. Number two, consistency. And again, words that I think are used very loosely. And what I always like to do is just, peel back the layers a little bit further. Consistency is probably one of the biggest obstacles. I've watched people perform at a super, super high level that will admit to you, I don't know that I'm that talented, but I just keep going. And I don't know that I'm doing it right, but I'm going to keep going until I get it right. That's consistency. Consistency isn't sexy. Consistency is typically in spaces that aren't that exciting. That repetition. And that's a big difference maker. As I've worked with many of these people for many, many years, they're committed to the right things, okay? And they're constantly going back in their future. Everyone continues to tell you, look through the windshield, it's bigger for a reason, the rearview mirror is smaller. And you've heard me say it once, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. The rearview mirror is smaller because you need to laser focus in on the experiences that you've had. That's where the lesson is, okay? So we've got commitment, we've got consistency. Will you stay consistent? Because training is not going to make you productive. Training isn't going to make you better. Repetition and experience is where you get better. So many people, fear jumps in the way too. And so they wonder why they don't get better. And so they run back and they train more. Well, no, we don't. Give me 100 talented, highly trained people. And then give me another group over here that are highly committed, that they are consistent, they have no quit in them, and they're willing to be held accountable. I think we know who's going to win. And here's number three. And they all live this. Contribution. And we watched it happen for 2 days. There is a registration fee, there's airfare, there's hotel, there's all those things that cost money to come to this. It doesn't even add up to a fraction of what it costs in time to these people to come out to an event like this, much less then get on stage and open their playbook up And that's what we do for 2 whole days. And we do it because certainly people want to hear what other people are doing. But let's take a look at the person that's on stage opening their playbook. What's the upside for them? Well, the teacher's constantly the student. And so when you're going to present something, be abundant and share, right? You want to make sure you deliver at a high level. And what I've found many times as I now coach coaches, because I take on no more coaching clients, is that they're so excited because now they're in that teaching space, right? They're contributing. Sure, it is a for-profit business for them. They're making money in it, but in that contribution, they want to bring their highest self forward, and to contribute at a high level, you've got to continue to get better. I'll close with this. That big one, contribution, an emerging value. And if you can carry that one forward now, and here's the tough part, expecting nothing back. Expecting nothing back. Just staying in that space of abundance and just trust the process. You know, many people will say, you know, good guys finish last. And I'll say, well, the good guy that contributes finished last because there was a point where they just stopped contributing. They were keeping score. You know, you've heard about scorekeepers. You know, the only score that I want to encourage you to do is to be just a little bit better than you were yesterday. And if you'll take these 3 principles, values that I'm sharing with you, commitment, and inside commitment is accountability and measurement and inspection, and then being consistent, doing that work that's maybe not so sexy, not so exciting, you know, stumbling and falling and picking yourself back up, grit inside there, that consistency. And then thirdly, contributing, because the nice thing along the way, if you take those 3 steps, what's going to happen in the space of contribution, you're going to be able to contribute based on your experiences. You know, I wish I could tell you that there was some real magic pill that appeared that is some new real estate hack. And you know what? The only hack that I can share with you is a group of human beings that continue to go deeper within themselves, so that they can then go deeper with the people that they're working with. Because what you'll find in leading other people is you need to go 3 to 4 questions deep to find out what's getting in the way. It's not just a matter of you don't do follow-up, you don't do video, you don't make your calls, whatever it may be. There's always something deeper. And so when you're able to, as a leader, go deeper within yourself, and that's work, and it's the hardest work for us to do, then what we're able to do is then transfer that over to people that we're leading. We can transfer an experience, we can transfer story of where we've had to take a look at self, take that mirror from waist level and move it up to eye level. So I hope that found this valuable for you in your life, business or personal, your wellness, whatever it may be. 3 simple things: commitment, consistency, contribution. Peace from Lake Tahoe.